Blessings once again, and welcome forward to Reasons Right Here at Your Life. I'm your host, Talaku, the Great Owl, in the presence of my most prolific co-host, Brother Ramon Singh.
Perfect love.
Perfect love, brothers and sisters. So, a very eventful series we started looking at the works of the flesh. When it started, I was in a much different place, and now I'm in a different place. I mean, I've been through a lot. I almost lost my life, but here I am, and I think I've grown so much more since the incident, and other avenues of my possibilities have opened up. It's good when you can trust the Lord more and find deeper meaning in your faith. Not just the superficial or just the mundane, but actually deep meaning, you know. So I want to give thanks to you, Tebape, true and living God in Yeshua Mashiach, Jesus Christ of Nazareth, for truly saving my life as a public declaration of healing and restoration and protection. Yeah, and I have to declare that, you know, my strength, hallelujah, didn't come from anyone else, hallelujah. So I just have to say that for what it is. So because we're looking at the works of the flesh, and this particular topic came up as one of the works of the flesh, and I was saying to you, Brother Singh, it goes to show you that the Bible is related to every level of human conduct, even as it relates to political matters of governance, right? So you probably wonder what we're talking about and saying, that's the Bible. Oh, please. Sorry. Pardon my sharp tongue. Our current topic is on sedition. Now, when I was growing up, right, and I got into like the black culture movement, we heard about the seditious movements, right? Based upon the fact that the state had said that Rastafari and Howellites and Bedouinites, this is Jamaican, for those who do not know, and these are spiritual movements within Jamaica within the last, previous century, right? Into the 19th into the 20th century. I think the Bedouinites was the oldest. They were in the 19th century, and the Bedouinites were in the 20th century, and the Garveyites, right? So, sedition, as how we come to understand it through like the Rastafari movement, was that the state had suppressed any forms of information surrounding the knowledge of anything that was cultural, black in nature, promoted an African-centered viewpoint as what they knew then, or any argument of origin or a function that was outside of state parameters was called seditious. So, all of those movements I named before, from the Howellites to the Garveyites to the Bedouinites, I just love saying that. Pardon me, I have my fun sometimes. Because it's our history, and we are proud people. Not because we're arrogant, because there's something to be proud about. So, you know, stay with me. Those people were hurt. Some was dispossessed, literally got their houses or their naturally made houses burnt down. Some was beaten, Rastafari were forcibly trimmed, called garden incident by the state. There were serious abuses against movements, individuals that were termed seditious. That's why there's a stigma around dreadlocks to this day, because the dreadlocks movement and all the others were said to be circumventing the power of the state. So in a religious context, let's look at sedition. So sedition, in essence, is people going against the function of the faith. I don't want to say the church, but some would just say the church. But going against the function of the faith in such a manner as to create strife and a kind of disrespect, creating disrepute amongst various members of the faith in different regions of the earth. I think seditious movements within Christendom is subverting the work of the Mashiach to promote the special interest group of the religious oligarchs, those who really make money from religion. Religion isn't a faith-based thing, it's a doctrine of money. It's under the Grimm's law. So there's a lot of sedition within the group, a hierarchy within the church where they're literally working against the faith. That's how I would see it. I mean, working against the Mashiach. They're working against the people being educated. They keep numbing the people down, underdeveloping the people's spiritual gifts and talents, talking about these as special gifts when they are not, Understand me? When people do not know how to perceive appropriately because people have been pigeon-cooped into this channeling idea of that's all spirituality is, not recognizing that we are gifted and talented beyond measure. Removing the veil is like removing the scales, which is like, that's what the faith should be about. If you do not teach someone, they cannot have the substance of their own liberation. So if you keep telling them that they need to look to you to be an arbiter of their faith, then that's the issue. So sedition in the religious context to me relates back to a little heresy too, wherein a lot of high-ranking officials are preaching prosperity gospel, and gospel are doctrines dominated by self-servant belief systems that is subverting the faith of growth and self-development, of love, of all the things that the Mashiach actually said. Not what it was interpreted to be, but what he actually said about our fellow humans, and how we must remove all of these systems that we want to term racism, classism, economic separatism, first world, third world. This is what the Mashiach was smashing, and I'm not going to pretend and keep church clergymen our doctrinal imbalances, our biases, because I'm of the faith. I was saved, a sinner out there in the world, a rebel, tegel, rebel. You understand me? Don't mix me. I'm a rebel, rebel, who came to the faith. So I don't play house. Brother Singh.
Yes, brother, great all. Have observe Christ now. And they give the advice to give unto Caesar what is due unto Caesar. You know? So him not oppose no government and say, oh, man of God, man now have to do them thing there. You know? When a time to pay taxes, them say, Christ, you have to pay your taxes. You know? Jesus, come in. And what? Them say, boy, go down at the river. And you go find a fish. And in your mouth, you go find some gold coin. And you go use that to pay the taxes. The man not oppose no government or monarch. Man I say, I have to pay tax. All right, boss. I can just go for a little gold coin in the fish mouth. I go pay my taxes.
You want to Caesar what is Caesar's, right?
Yes, I. So Christ set the perfect example in his conduct, in his speech. You know? Because sedition, a conduct and speech that is against state or monarch. You know? So, we give thanks, man. Him set the example.
It's a serious thing because everything has a double edge to it, in the sense that to not speak against a corrupt ruler and holding a tongue and casting, judgment upon the innocent is not wise. But to go against a just and moral government because of your proclivity to dislike their ways, their attitude, or their beliefs, or the functions of the government, that is seditious to me. Because anything unjust, though there's opinions on what just or unjust is, but I'm assuming if it relates to politics, which is the essence of governance, and governance without the overarching Grimm's law, which is really just to control and manipulate, not to really deal with the affairs of men. But let's use the presumptive that it is to deal with the affairs of men. You cannot be a government if your interest is against that which you govern, which is the functionality of the people, which is the very living presence of what the society is. Without them, there is no society. So if leadership becomes destructive, chaotic, any true constitution ought to have in it the rights of the people enshrined to defend themselves. I would put the seditious nature in government directly at the point where individuals go against a solid, reputable government. Oh, the Lord said I didn't finish the point before. So the point is this: the people decide what makes it appropriate for them to go against the structure of authority. That's what determines whether it's right or wrong to go against authority and not be seditious. If it is the will of the people, if the people are being oppressed beyond measure by an unfair regime, It is not just the dictates of an individual to speak against, but to speak up for the voice of the plenipotentiary, the voice of the masses. And so the voice of the masses is unified against a corrupt regime. It's not sedition. I wouldn't see it as. I would see it as sedition, back to my latter point. I would see it as sedition if the people or the individuals have a political motive to go against a solid governance structure, and I presuppose that we're talking about, true government, not control. But if it's a good government that is addressing the needs of its people, relatively, comparatively, and this movement is just based upon some prejudice that may be religious, maybe it's a Christian government, and a peer, other people around, I won't call the name, right? Other religious group around, right? And a Christian government rose up, which is going to bring Christian morality and functionality in law, because law dictates behavior, right? I'm going to say about ban ganja, because maybe that society wouldn't be religiously secular, right? A religious secularism, they don't believe in it, so they're like, we are purely religious. I'm going to say, Rasta man, sorry Rasta, we don't have to be that way, but just to give example, Rasta man can't smoke no ganja, because it's a prime minister right now say, oh, any man that smoke ganja, gone, him gone forever, and then beat down every tabernacle, and, well, they did that already, didn't they? So, just to say, in that sense, you would say, that movement, though it be religious in nature, would be a seditious movement, because its definite intent is to be prejudiced against a good government. Though they have reasons, but it would be because of a prejudice against a good government. And the essence is that, how do we reduce seditious activity in society and even within religious congresses? Is to listen to the point of others, not assume central authority without a central structure of understanding. Most of us say, in some sense, we perish for a lack of knowledge. And so in essence, if we don't centralize with knowledge, we won't be able to function in a central sense. So you have this organization who say they deal with the interests of many, but they really don't deal with the interests of a few, speaking over many. You find that those many have to have a voice. And if the voice is determined by the few, it ain't real. So that when you speak up now, they say, hey, sedition, going against the authority with all this speech, subversive speech, inferencing, you are very much then pandering to the left or the right of philosophy, political philosophy. I'm trying to put in my funny voice, but it's not working with the teeth. But yeah, they're trying to do all that stuff, and but the people really have a point. Even within the Rastaman analogy too. Loss of religious or personal freedom would cause you to rise up against any government. So the essence is that this is a thin line. In religious congress now was my point. Listen to the points of different regions under the faith. Listen to the different experiences of people who have been saved. Don't use doctrine and charisma, which is a structure and belief on how the experience of Christ ought to be taught in exegesis and hermeneutics. Don't use that as a measure by which you will judge others and their faith. If the comparison should be in the ultimate truth, then it should be in love. Has the presence of Christ in these people's congregation, way of life, increased compassion, hallelujah, and lovingness, loving natures amongst them? Then this is the judge of what good and what godliness is present, not whether or not they are signed up to your council churches and is paying some kind of membership fee, hallelujah, or tax to the organization. And then if they should remove themselves from such a agreement, then you say they're seditious, or even further, if they should teach or preach something which you haven't doctrinally agreed on, then you say heresies. And heresies is going against, the structure of the argument of the establishment of the faith in terms of the establishment of church doctrines and policies, I should say, right? So heresies and sedition is close. They're not the same, but they're very closely related. Now, we'll deal with heresy later, but sedition still has to do with that speech, that belief, that way of life, that activity that counter-navigates authority, that trumps authority. But I would go further to say sometimes without standing up for oneself, authority will become overbearing and too far-reaching. So you need a balance, and therein variance comes in there too. But as it comes to darkness now, the imbalances is manifest, the Lord want me to say this, is manifest as people going into the faith and off-balancing the core principles, promoting ideology. I alluded to prosperity gospel. There are many more, so I don't want people to say that I'm only targeting something. Yeah, like there are many doctrines. There was a rattlesnake thing that was going on one time, rattlesnake churches. I don't want to target anybody, but I'm just saying that there are things which pop up within the church field where you got these new age pastors and practitioners talking some stuff that it's almost like a Luciferianic gospel they're talking about, because that's like, I don't know where that comes from. Where's that speech coming from? It's very subversive. It's very, we say new age, it's a cute word, but don't get offended when I'm saying new age, but that's what these seditious movements are. They bring in this new attitude, this new functionality, and you look at traditional people that have had this way of life for thousands of years as that we are strange, right? But these heresies, these seditious movements, they are under these nice little slogans, and look at their logos or the things that they use to represent who they are. They're using the logos that are Luciferianic. That's what I'm saying. These symbols are satanic, and they have all these symbols to represent these new churches with all these new beliefs and all this new music and these parishioners. Oh my God, Brother Singh, I could go on.
Yes, Brother Great Old. Yeah, for real, man. The Bible has shown us if you have this kind of spirit in you, you always oppose and cause conflict against the government. What kind of spirit that you have, You're not going to have a peaceful spirit if you always a fight against government and state.
Because because I'm saying the state made up of the people, so it's like you were fighting yourself consistently. If it's a true state, it's really the people are the government. And so that's where conduct comes in. It's like to have a conduct that respects the authority of your culture, the authority of how you view God, religion, how God operates within your consciousness or within the consciousness of the people you observe. So the seditious nature really, in its true etymology, that's why I was doing all that stuff before to let people understand that I know what's going on in that regard. There's two sides to it. Because the true government is the people. Hallelujah. Right? And the people are the true plenipotentiary. They are the true monarchs. The system has subverted their power and had converted it into this, unitary structure of separating the people. That's why Yeshua truly taught unification based upon love, dignity, which circumvents all other structure designed by man to separate and divide and rule. Yes, Brother Singh, continuing. So being seditious against the true government is in essence breaking moral codes of conduct and behavior amongst your fellow human being, literally trying to pervert the environment in which you live to go contrary to the way it has been established. Law and order that are externalized are of behavior, are of conduct. So we do not ruin things because of misunderstanding and frustrations. When the natural law is circumvented by a constructed belief system, then reality has been hijacked, and it has. So people might misinterpret this by showing, and I must say it clearly, reverence to authority, presuming authority which comes through force is government. Government is the people. And that's why conduct is important. Because it's how you conduct yourself in the presence of your fellow human beings. Hallelujah. Hey! And that is something to think about. Because most times we are taught by these authority figures to disregard the unison amongst humans, our fellow humans. They divide us into personalities which compete for a specific target, place, position, title, label, status. with this status is afforded power, abilities. And so anything that circumvents that to them goes against justice. But the truth is, that which destroys love amongst human beings is destructive, is seditious. That which removes God from state, from school, under the guise of being politically nondescript and fair, that is evil and seditious, because that removes the power of the government, which is the people to act in their own interest. Their hands are being tied by oppressive, coercive individuals. So the true sedition, again, is against the laws of God. Hallelujah. Not some substrata circumvented and presented by man. It's actually against the law of God. So when we are out there literally trying to destroy fellow human conduct by promoting alternative behaviors and lifestyles, that is sedition against the procreation module, right? That is sedition against the accepted functional right that all of us can look at, right? There's only one way we enter onto the plane, one way. And when a man, woman, child, system, institution deny the fundamental truth, that is sedition, because you teach in conduct and behavior falsehood. Falsehood reinforced by force. It reinforced. Why do you need to reinforce it? Because it is being forced upon people in these nomenclatures, the language, the pronouns, all these pronouncements. Listen very carefully. Pronouns, these pronouncements of differences, and pastors talking about alternative lifestyles while being pastors. Seditious. These things are against the moral, hallelujah, and ethical code. These are the laws that are immutable. These laws are eternal. They are enshrined as a natural law. And these are the laws of God, not the opinions of clerics, not the opinions of priests, and not the opinions of the curians of Rome or the administrators of the Neapolitan Creed. Right? It is a serious thing. So I'm not a part of any organization, grouping, no secret order, no secret society, religious or otherwise. Hallelujah. So my speech is clear, with no intent against any specific institution, but that which is unjust and immoral and goes against the laws of God established in Yeshua HaMashiach. And back in the day, the words of Christ was written in the Bible and highlighted in red. I want to know why it's not that way anymore. I want to know who is reinterpreting what Christ said and leaving it like this revelation is his revelation. This is what a lot of people don't want to speak about. This revelation is his revelation. We want this word, which is the authority, hallelujah, and the law, and to observe it, to reference it, to learn from it, and to grow from it. We do not need the laws of false prophets, false scribes, false shepherd to lead us into hell. Hallelujah. Brother Singh.
Yes, Brother Great Owl. That's why many black men make it over America as well, and many first world country, because them conduct and speech towards the state, the police them, is not of respect. Them conduct and them, how them body language, them speech, it make enough of them get took out, get slew. Because when me I deal with police, because police stop me one at a time. Never stop at the stop sign. I slow down, I'm see say it clear. I'm move off. But me never come to a full stop. The police stopped me and said, "Is a ticket to..." Him can give me a ticket, you see me? Because me never fully stop at the stop sign. And me say, true, you know. Me never fully stop for true. You're right. I true you talk. Me never fully stop. And then me start have conversation now. And well, him start have conversation where me come from. You know who me related to. And me tell him my relation. I say from the Dwyer family. I say, what? You're the grandson, man. Dwyer grandson. What? You know? Me give a warning, man. You get a warning. You know I get a ticket. But through a respect for respect, you know? Me not come with no fight and say, he clear. So everybody can see say it clear, so why me need to stop, you know? But through me know law is the law, he must uphold the law. And for real, me never come to a full stop. So I admit, so I'm guilty. I did not come to a full stop. A true your talk, you know? You know, I just the conduct and speech towards authority. You know, towards the government. I respect for respect. Man is just a man, you know.
That's true. Woman is just a woman.
And everybody just want respect. You don't want to get no, what I call it, no angry energy. And, you know, somebody get angry, you're not going to let them off again. I said, oh, you upset? All right, you get ticket. Why else? And I start look for other tickets to give them. Your tint too low. I get a ticket for the tint. You know, you never have in a seatbelt. And I write up a big list because the conduct and the speech was not of peace and love and respect.
Absolutely. I agree because like every day we can encounter many of these situations where maybe sometimes we were in the bad and is recovering to learn, like you said, just to accept and be responsible for misgiving. Somebody having the authority to prosecute you for a misgiving does not give them authority over your soul. And as such is how we perceive the functionaries of the government. Like I said, if the government is just and moral, and again I'm talking about the perceived notion of what government is. If the activities of the state is just and moral, then when people go against it, there's a compunction to, punish them, or reprimand them, at least in the least, or give them a warning in some regard. If the functions of the government is not righteous, is, unduly prejudice, then the mere speaking up for yourself, might cause great pain and suffering that is unnecessary. So as we're relating this topic, we gotta be balanced to show that conduct in general to your fellow humans as a mark of respect and your sense of awareness and understanding of life is necessary. When it relates specifically to a political structure and governance, fear should not be the determining factor of you observing the law. The laws that are unjust are still unjust. And not because authority is behind them, that means that they should be supported. It's like I go back to a law module of World War II. During the time when the Nazis were in Europe, in France, there was a particular case of a woman who had to report her husband being a Nazi and having subversive material against the Nazis. And it led to his arrest and torture, and he came out and there was a suit against her. But the essence of it was when the Allies took over the war and ended it, and then the tribunals brought war crimes against the Nazis, the Germans, and those who were supportive of them and complicit in the acts. The whole issue of law was drafted up because the Estonian or the Astinian principle of law is that authority and law is in the monarch and the king. And going against the authority of the king and the monarch is therefore subversive and seditious and an offense. So the essence was when the wife had reported her husband for being seditious and subversive against the Nazi government, which was a government, she was well within the law to do so. However, that law was unjust, immoral. And how was that conclusion made? Because they didn't go to an authoritative module of law, but rather to a fundamental principle of natural law. What is decent and what is indecent? Was it decent of a wife to have been forced by others, and I must say forced, to go against her husband to feel that she can survive, to live, and to continue her life as a citizen? Is that a decent thing to do when you swore under contract for better or for worse? Was it right to have forced a wife to have done that to her husband? Obviously, that's a most draconian law and thus unjust. It's an unjust law. And during those tribunals, natural law took precedence, hallelujah, and they were convicted of war crimes. So why did I say it that way? Because under the state laws, they had a right to do those things. Just like under state laws, they traded in aboriginals like myself. Under state law, they condoned rape, torture, and murder of fellow aboriginals under Dum Devassie, under these papal bulls. It was legal and it was sanctioned by the state. Slavery was. Anything was. So there's two sides to the argument. The true government is the people, established in natural law with the covenant of God. Through our religious heritage, we speak of three dynamics to it. We have Mosaic law, we have Abrahamic law, we have canonical law, and a midway of ecclesiastical law. Long before we had Magna Carta, long before we have this authoritative principle of the so-called Universal Declaration of Human Rights and all these things and all these things and all these things and all these things. There was a moral code of conduct that we followed in religious principle, and it was the law of God, maintaining natural law, law of nature. Do unto others, hallelujah, as you'll have them do unto you. Don't be disingenuous with people because they have different political views, social views, sexual or emotional views. This is the true nature of a believer, to hold the light of Christ alive, which is the light of wisdom and truth, compassion, forgiveness, love, mercy, temperance, right? All of the things that love are, that love is, right? Isn't quick to anger, isn't quick to rage, isn't judgmental, it's forgiving, it's long-suffering, it's kind. That's the natural law. That's established in the kingdom, Brother Singh.
Yes, Brother Great All. And it is prophesied in the Bible that things are going to get even worse. The government are going to get worse. You know, as it was in the days of Noah, so shall it be in the last days. You know, the Sodom and Gomorrah energy, it'll come back and stronger too. That's why the Most High said we must be in the world, but not of the world and what the world will do. You know? If him say evil, if we can hide in the mountain tops, you see me? Away from Babylon and its activities and its governments, you know?
Absolutely.
Certain things we just can't change. Certain things we can change, you know?
Yes.
Pray to God. Ask God to change it. Because God, with God, all things are possible. So go on your knees if you have some problem with the government. Go on your knees. Ask God to deal with it. But nobody will start one riot and incite people to come make we overthrow this and do this and, you know? People on the street and one bag of evil. No. Go on your knees, pray, ask God to change certain laws, change what them need for change. But no, say things are going to get worse. The government are going to get worse. Certain things them are allow. Why is of the devil? A devil agenda. And same time certain prophecies have to come to pass. So we have to know what we can change and cannot change.
True that.
And what we can change, go up on your knees and ask God. And what you cannot change, just allow it and do your best.
The truth is, when the heart of God is moved in the people, then the voice of the people becomes the voice of God. And so, when the people speak with one voice, that's the day. In order to speak with one voice, it's not one intellect. It's love. Love is what unites all souls across their different belief systems and way of life. Love is what brings back our cordiality, make us be kind. It's taught to us as a way of life. We did what the Bible has taught us, to examine it as it is, as principles. Principles is an enduring structure that is ageless, genderless, odorless, and colorless. It is immutable. It is eternal. It is constant to be itself. The application of right principles creates right behaviors, or as we call it, appropriate and proper conduct. One of the measures of conduct is called deportment. Deportment is a general way in which an individual operates within the spectrum of, human experiences, especially as it deals with human communication. So we got to, learn to communicate a lot, better by allowing love to guide our interactions. Some of it is religious, by faith. Go into that place where you can look at things in a beautiful way and change the way in which you are seeing these structures around you, learning to be understanding of your fellow humans, so the principles of divide and rule may not come to bear upon your spirit, where you are cardinaled off or isolated into a specific group that isolates you from the greater whole, and hence you're unable to experience the gifts of God, which is just to naturally have your being and be able to experience it within the essence of the environment in which we are, because that's the essence of life. And the right deportment, as I was saying before, really goes back to how we operate behaviorally, right? In speech and in attitude, in an environment with people who don't always see as we see in right function. But we are still human, and we still occupy a society. So when the road has broken off to our town, it's not just the road to the Christian town, the Rasta town, the Jewish town, the Muslim town. It's the way to home, all of our homes. And so as the true people, the true government, make us love. Let us love. Return to it, not in ideology, but let the faith of Christ guide the consciousness, which is to let go of the things that divides us. There's more that unites us. Greater is He that is in us than he that is in the world. All of that argument that is out there, it's powerful, but in here is compassion. In here is Christ. In here in the temple of our heart is love. Hallelujah. And that love, it surpasses all understanding, just like the peace. It covers a multitude of sin, and it restores a soul. So that's our drive in this moment to say, speak up when you have to speak up, but speak lightly, speak gently, speak truth. Don't speak disingenuously. Don't speak a false narrative. Yeah? Don't be deliberately harsh, wicked, and deliberately destructive towards the state, the government. If it is a fair, just, and moral institution that is of the people, that serves the people, of the people, is the people. Do not destroy morality amongst your communities, amongst your families. Do not destroy peace amongst your people. The backbiting and the tail bearing, that's what's destroying the energy field around. That's why you're not happy, because the environment you're in, you can't bear to have your neighbor look at you. You're covering up, you're hiding, because you're shameful, because shameless acts are going on. Very shameful acts are going on. And these things are seditious in nature because they go against the laws of nature. They make us want to hide from each other. They make us want to separate and divide ourselves and talk nonsense. Let us overcome these things, and the only way is in love. Only way is in love, towards a loving, divine, truthful outcome. I pray we overcome these natures. In the spirit of Yeshua Mashiach, like, share, subscribe, share life experience right here on Seala Media. Remember to support the Patreon mini wisdom healing session with yourself and yours truly. Yeah, the great old. One love, same way. Remember to support the retreat movements. Come to Jamaica, check out the farm. You know, it's a great farmer. Myself, I do the healing hikes. Spend a moment with us, expand the kingdom in love, enjoy, share the knowledge of how you do what you do religiously and by faith in where you are. So until next time, this has been the great old Taluku right here. Reasonings right here at the Chair Life, yeah? In the presence of my co-host, Brother Ramon Singh.
Perfect love. Perfect love.